Good morning, everyone, and welcome to what we are sure will be an engaging BTAG Transfer Tuesday event. Our first session in February, which is available through recording, had over 170 participants. For today's webinar, we have over 250 registrants. Don't worry, the transfer party isn't ending just yet. We still have 2 more events scheduled for April 13th and May 4th. For today's session, we have 2 outstanding presentations from our colleagues at Bronx Community College and Lehman College. To kick off today's session, we will hear from Vice Chancellor Denise Maybank. Dr. Maybank currently serves as the university's interim Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs and Enrollment Management. In this role, she assumes responsibility for unifying the student affairs and enrollment management functions of the university's central office to guide the work of supporting student engagement from recruitment through to completion and beyond. Dr. Maybank is a proud CUNY alumna who earned a BA from Brooklyn College before obtaining a master's degree from Columbia University and a PhD from Michigan State University. In her current and prior roles, she has contributed to significant initiatives structuring the undergraduate experience and implemented lasting, innovative programs and services. It is my pleasure to introduce VC Maybank.
Thank you so very much. And I am honored to be with all of you this morning. This particular event is happening on my day 117 at CUNY in this role. And so this is truly exciting for me. I believe that the college beyond the classroom sessions that are associated with BTAG and this convening are a part of the ingenuity that abounds as we pivot in these current circumstances. We found ways to make certain that we stay connected, that we stay focused, that we continue to support our students in a way that makes a difference and keeps us excited about all of the things that we get to do in these spaces. It is always a privilege for me to think about how we do things best for our students. And so I don't know if you realize, you may know this information, but I still think it worthy of being presented to you this morning and shared with you as we talk about career and engagement, that 87% of CUNY students entering community colleges anticipate eventually obtaining a bachelor's degree, but only 11% actually do so within 6 years, which is the time frame that we usually monitor. Less than 20% of associate degree graduates accomplish this nationwide. So we recognize that improving these outcomes is important work, not just at CUNY, but across our country. And we can contribute to helping the thought about what it is that needs to be done and how these goals are accomplished. There are a lot of reasons for what happens that causes people to not complete and to fall out of the process as we talk about the pipeline at any given moment, whether it's the credits that are not transferring, that help them get from the 2-year institutions into senior colleges, the transfer shock that, maybe the circumstances are not the same. And there's less intrusive advisement in the senior colleges that might cause people to say, well, nobody's paying attention. I don't have to do this, that, or the other thing. And they fall into those pitfalls. So these are opportunities for us to talk about all of the ways in which we support students. And I'm excited that BTAG is doing the work to plug the leaky transfer pipeline. The presentations we'll hear today will help us to think about what we need to do as we go forward. And it is in those partnerships of shared understanding, of shared meaning, of shared commitment and dedication that we abound. And so I trust that you will take fully from this experience today, take it back to your experiences, to your interactions, and let's make it big for CUNY students, because it is about them fulfilling their destiny, and making a difference in the world. So I thank you for the opportunity to be a part of this experience today.
Thank you, VC Maybank, for your inspiring remarks. Now I would like to introduce the team from BCC who will be presenting Holistically Lit.
Thank you all so much for being here. Very, very much appreciated. And welcome to Holistically Lit. My name is Donovan Griffin. I'm one of the ASAP advisors at Bronx Community College.
Hello, my name is Felipe Ayala Jr. I am a ASAP academic advisor and also the co-chair of the ASAP Men's Roundtable.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jasmine Caccavelli, and I'm also an ASAP advisor and also co-chair of the ASAP Women's Empowerment Committee.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Nicole Benjamin, and I'm also an ASAP advisor at Bronx Community College and one of the co-chairs of the Women's Empowerment Committee at Bronx Community College.
Awesome, awesome. And we want to take this opportunity before we dive right into the bulk of the presentation and join us in reminiscing back into your past and being able to reminisce in relation to your first year at college. And in doing so, being able to think about what you deem was important to you, what was a priority for you, your top priority when you were in college for the first time. So in doing so, we wanted to be able to have a poll in which we want to be able to have you all choose among the 3 options that you see on your screen in relation to what you felt when you were in your first year of college. What was most important to you? So if you could take a moment to use the chat and choose what you felt was the most important to you when you were in college.
Please continue to use the poll. We're seeing the numbers coming in. It's looking great.
Absolutely. And it seems like a landslide from the polls that 58% of you said that studying was your top priority when you were in college, your first year of college, whereas 28% of you said that co-curricular activities was your top priority, followed by work at 14%. And these numbers are important to understand in this presentation because we're going to be talking about the importance of student engagement. But even with that understanding that while this seems to be a difference of opinion in regards to priority, all of these options hold the same merit in relation to priority and helping you to be well-rounded, being a well-rounded student, and helping you to persist into graduation. And with that said, we would like to transition into defining what it means to be holistically lit.
Yes, so what does holistically lit mean? If 1 or 2 participants can share their ideas in the chat, it would be helpful. Okay, so being well-rounded. Thank you, Lena. Dealing with the whole student's experience. Okay, thank you so much for sharing your ideas. Okay, so holistically lit is a term created by our team to describe a student who demonstrates a commitment to excel academically and explore a variety of co-curricular activities. So as mentioned in the chat, the student is taking advantage of their whole college experience to excel academically and also study and also work and also be a part of co-curricular activities on campus.
So on this slide, according to a study done by June Chang in 2002, 20% of the student population engaged in student engagement, right, and extracurricular activity. And of that 20%, a small number of students continued their engagement throughout their college life and throughout their professional lives. And on this slide, we want to say, how significant is student engagement? As you can see on the top grow on the third box to your right, where it says not enough opportunity to socialize and have fun. 25% of the students say that there's not enough engagement available to them on campus to, continue being there, right? So based on that 25%, 25% is devoted solely to student interaction, student engagement activities. And students want to feel like they belong. If a student doesn't feel like him or her belong or is a part of something meaningful, chances are him or her is going to move on to a different institution, right? So this directly impacts retention. So the goal while the student is at the college is to provide extracurricular activities, stuff that the student think is meaningful to them.
So here we're gonna be presenting a video to you guys. It's about 5 minutes long. So we want you guys to, it's really incorporating everything about students getting involved and seeing why is it so important to be involved, and how the workplace looks at this, and how they're take the involvement of students in college when it comes to the career. So we want to make sure that we want to end up tying it all in. And this is why should I hire you by Project CEO, Involvement in College Matters.
Why should I hire you? It's a question that every college graduate will have to answer in some way after they graduate. It may not always be asked this way, but it will be implied in every question they're asked at the interview. Why should I hire you? For some students, the question may cause a sense of panic. Many falsely assume that a diploma is all they need to get a great job. They've heard people say, all you need is a college degree. It doesn't really matter what your degree is in. That is false. The truth is a little more complicated. If you use college as an opportunity to grow and develop, you are more likely to become the kind of person that employers want to hire after college. Simply put, your most important project in college is you. So what skills do employers want? The National Association of Colleges and Employers asks them every year. Here is what they found out: verbal communication, teamwork, problem solving, setting priorities, finding and evaluating information, quantitative reasoning skills, computer skills, writing and editing, and influencing others. Now, where can you gain these skills? Stephen F. Austin State University and Campus Labs conducted a national study on this issue called Project CEO, Co-Curricular Experience Outcomes. This study looked at how students develop the skills employers want, and some of the results may surprise you. We asked more than 17,000 students at 40 institutions where they could learn these skills. Without exception, their classes was the most common answer. This makes a lot of sense. Classes are supposed to prepare you for success in life, and every student takes classes. But not every student will participate in a student organization or an internship. We investigated these experiences outside of classes that may contribute. These were internships, on-campus jobs, off-campus jobs, and co-curricular experiences. Co-curricular experiences meaning optional experiences outside of the classroom in which learning can occur, like student organizations, campus publications, student government, fraternities, sororities, intercollegiate or intramural sports, or academic groups and honor societies. When we asked which experiences outside the classroom help students to develop employment skills, co-curricular experiences were the most common answer more than half the time. Students developed teamwork, decision-making, obtaining and processing information, problem-solving, verbal communication, planning, organizing, and prioritizing. In 3 skills, internships got the most response: career knowledge, computer proficiency, and writing and editing. In 2 skills, off-campus jobs got the most response: sales and influence, and analyzing quantitative data. To see the impact that co-curricular programs make, let's look at how 3 hypothetical students developed the 6 skills that co-curricular experiences impact most. The first student doesn't participate in co-curricular experiences at all. They just go to class and go back to their room. The second student has been involved on campus for 2 years. They spend at least an hour a week involved on campus. The third student has been a leader on campus for 2 years. They run meetings, they helped their organization set goals and accomplish them. We asked each of them to rate their skills on each of these areas: verbal communication, teamwork, problem solving, setting priorities, finding and evaluating information, and decision making. What does this mean? The more involved students were, the more likely they were to say that they were gaining these skills. This leads us to an interesting question. How involved do you have to be to get the benefits of participation in a co-curricular experience? Let's look at 4 more students. This one is somewhat involved in a single organization. This one is somewhat involved in multiple organizations. This one is very involved in a single organization. And this one is very involved in multiple organizations. We asked them to rate themselves on each of the 6 skills that co-curricular experiences impact most: verbal communication, teamwork, problem solving, setting priorities, finding and evaluating information, and decision making. So what does this mean? Well, this seems to suggest that what really matters is your level of involvement. The learning benefits of being very involved in one organization are essentially the same as those gained from being somewhat involved in multiple organizations. Students who were very involved in multiple organizations perceive the greatest benefit, much more than students who were only somewhat involved. This also supports the claim that it is the depth of your involvement that matters. A word of caution: although involvement in multiple organizations is beneficial, it's also important for students to find a balance and not overextend themselves. So what can we take away from this? First, we need to help employers understand the benefits of hiring involved students, since they tend to have many of the skills that employers are looking for. Second, internships are great, but not every student can get an internship. But any student can participate in at least one co-curricular experience. Third, students work more hours than ever before, and this presents many challenges, but it may also present opportunities for students to develop career skills from their jobs on and off campus. So if students want a great job after college, they'll need the skills that employers want. Involvement outside of the classroom can be an engaging and fun way to develop these skills.
So thank you so much, and for being attentive to the video. So as you see, the video shows exactly why students being involved tend to be more successful in the workplace and also in the transfer. We believe that in the transfer process as well. And when they go to the 4-year college, they tend to gain a wealth of knowledge by being involved in co-curricular activities. They gain leadership skills, time management skills, and organization skills that make them successful in the work world, but will translate to the 4-year campus as a transfer.
Absolutely. And in following the video, we would like to present to you all what we do at the campus at Bronx Community College in helping students have a holistic college experience before they end up transferring and graduating from BCC. And in doing so, we want to present you all with the groups that we all facilitate at BCC, which is the ASAP Men's Roundtable and the ASAP Women's Empowerment Committee. And let's start with the ASAP Men's Roundtable. The ASAP Men's Roundtable is an initiative program that we run at the campus. Myself, Felipe, and our partner, Majesty Perkins, we facilitate this group in targeting our male students and students who identify as male, being able to present them with a variety of experiences and a variety of topics that we feel are crucial to overall success. And we target events that focuses on mind, body, and spirit, and that includes mental health. We encourage self-advocacy through our events, promoting that on a regular basis, and just helping students to become positive role models in their communities on campus and off campus. And in some of the events that we facilitate beyond the series, we also have what's called Striving for Success, in which we collaborate with high school sites, in which we're able to promote the skill sets and just expose them to best practices before they end up graduating. And with that, we often have our own scholars who represent the ASAP Men's Roundtable. We have our own scholars speak to high school students and sharing their own experiences and being able to provide them with again, best practices, recommendations, being able to have a realistic conversation with students and giving them an idea of what to expect. And also, we have the closing ceremony, which is also held at the end of the school year, in which we mimic what graduation will look like for our students before they transfer and before they graduate. And this is our way of celebrating their accomplishments, being able to acknowledge their commitment to the groups, as well as be able to award them and just encouraging them to continue excelling and continuing being motivated and overcoming adversity in order to achieve their in order to achieve their personal and academic goals and professional goals.
Okay, so the ASAP Women's Empowerment Committee is a committee that is pretty much devoted to empower women. We bring awareness to topics that will help them become leaders, just like Donovan mentioned, on BCC's campus and off campus. Just a few of the events that we've put on throughout the academic year of 2019 through now were Bridging the Gap, which was an event where we talked about racism, patriarchy, and white privilege. This event was really powerful because students were able to formulate a sense of community, even though they came from different backgrounds. The Taking Charge series was a series of workshops which focused on pretty much women's health and also mental health. So we brought awareness to those important topics that affect women. The Voters Registration Day event was also another empowering event where we promoted civic engagement. We pretty much wanted students to become more aware of how important it is to vote and to know that their vote counts. And then the Let Dreamers Dream workshop was another powerful event where we empowered undocumented students and the Dreamers population on BCC's campus about what resources are available to them. How can they receive the help to apply for these resources within BCC's campus and within CUNY. And last but not least, the How Do I Claim My Voice event was another event put on this past December where we talked about stress and anxiety. We had students pretty much talk about how they can express their inner voice, how to make conscious decisions to take action and make change. And within all these events, as you hear the different themes, you can hear that we help our students formulate a sense of community, become aware of personal issues and how to deal with those, and also civic engagement and self-advocacy, which are all very important for their transition moving forward when they leave us from BCC, whether it's for work or whether it's to go to a CUNY college.
And one thing that's so powerful of us coming together is our collaborations. And our collaborations always show so much strength from our students with their voices. All our students are included in all of our events. If you are not male or female, everyone is included and is welcome to all our events. Our collaborations, including our money management has shown skills of learning how to budget, learning about credit, learning about stocks and bonds. And we just finished actually having ABCs of healthy relationships right before the Valentine's Day weekend. And we had someone that came in and talked about different healthy relationships of all kinds and made sure that students understood what yes meant and what no meant. So we wanted to make sure that all of our students during these collaborations are fully informed about the different things that we do. And this is why I feel that our collaborations together make it very strong for us at the BCC campus to have our students get even more involved in curricular activities.
So this is just a simple outline we wanted to share with you guys that what attendance looked like pre the pandemic, right? So we had a number of students that we expected to come, but as you can see, based on the numbers here, we always exceeded those numbers. And since we've been working remotely and been able to bring these events via Zoom, the numbers has significantly increased. So we assume that it's due to the modality, right? But we just wanted to give you a quick snapshot of, what attendance looks like. And this, these events are events that students, come back and be asking for, like, when is the next one coming? So just a quick snippet of what we do.
And these are our scholars who represent and define what holistically lit means. And without going into too much detail about these scholars individually, we just want to give you an overview of what these students represent to us when it comes to BCC and our efforts in promoting excellence. So in doing so, these scholars have represented us in many ways, and we have students who have been involved in the Kaplan Scholarship Program. We have students who have graduated from us and have gone on to Yale University. We've had students who are en route of working in law, becoming a lawyer, and just being able to express, all of what skill sets they were able to gain by attending these events in their effort in transferring to the schools that they end up going to. And even with that, we also want to be able to identify their efforts in utilizing the departments at their schools, at BCC and at the schools that they transfer to. And that's disability support services, right? So disability support services, as you all know, is a department that devotes time and attention to students and scholars who help them with accommodations, being able to provide them with services, and helping them to persist getting from point A to point B. And these scholars have advocated in many ways to be able to get the results that they're looking for. And also want to leave you with understanding that while scholars are able to manage time and able to perfect time management, understanding that a student who doesn't have that 4.0 GPA that we all encourage doesn't necessarily mean that a student isn't holistically lit. You can have a low GPA and still be holistically lit by your efforts and your courageousness in asking for help and seeking services and building your support network in order for you to be able to, again, persist from point A to point B to get to graduation. And with that said, we want to give you a highlight of the testimonials that students have highlighted at the events that they have attended and their overall experience being at both the ASAP Men's Roundtable and the ASAP Women's Committee. So you can take a few moments to take a look at the testimonials. The overall theme of these testimonials is students' ability to step out of their comfort zone. When students transfer into their school, it is going to come with a lot of intimidation and a lot of fear. But understanding that to be holistically lit means that you are going to ask for help, and you are in some way, shape, or form are going to step out of your comfort zone, even when things seem challenging, that you're going to be brave to say, I need help. Can you help me? And building your support network when you eventually get to your new school and graduate.
So you're probably wondering, what does all of this have to do with the theme of transfer, right? So as the bullets here populate, these are some of the skills that an active student that students who are actively engaged and contributes to their higher education experience, right? And student development. As you read through these skills, you're going to notice that some of them are bold and some are just in regular italics. These are skills that would be required for a student to be successful at the junior level, as well as when they transfer at the senior level, right? And we're hoping that by the end of the student's journey at BCC and there's time for them to leave the nest, they would have developed all of these skills and, well prepared, in their higher education experience and ready to push forward and, continue to be successful.
It is very important to point out that students learning these skills through their involvement will transfer to them being successful at a four-year campus. They'll be confident, well-adjusted, and will be able to be an advocate for themselves. Having tools like this in their tool chest will make the transition much easier for them.
So we just want to say thank you for attending our session. And if you have any questions, concerns, this is our contact information. You know, if you want to discuss the work that we do at BCC and continue to do, feel free to reach out. We're always willing to collaborate with anyone that's willing to collaborate with us.
Let's be holistically lit.
We got to put that on a t-shirt.
Exactly. Well, thank you to all of our presenters for that wonderful presentation kicking us off today. And we have some time for some questions. And so I was monitoring the chat, and I think that some of the questions that surfaced were already addressed. But if there are other things that we want to check in with our colleagues from BCC, we want to ask right now, we do have some time. So please drop a question in the chat, and we'll be sure to address it.
You don't have to go all at once.
I do see a question that came through. How can we ensure that these skills are developed when oftentimes students feel alienated from high school? So maybe their high school experience follows them into the college space. How do we then go about encouraging this type of development and at the college level?
You want to answer, Donovan, or you want me to?
I can answer it. So the one thing that we oftentimes encourage our students to understand when they're transitioning from high school to college is that they're starting from scratch. And by that, their past record at high school is not going to carry over with them when they eventually step into a brand new space, a brand new environment, and just helping them to understand that even though they may not have been able to get the best results in high school, that they're starting again from zero, just like everyone else who's coming into school for the very first time. So, and how we support our students is just being able to start at the base level and just promoting, you know, these, not only these events, but just these opportunities for them to, again, step out of their comfort zone and just helping them to, you know, be courageous enough to build their network of support, and also encouraging them to ask for help. Students who come into college, whether it's at BCC, you know, at another institution, you know, the challenge is that students don't ask for help. So we oftentimes encourage and over and over again, you know, just helping students to, you know, to advocate, you know, as we mentioned earlier, advocating and just not being afraid to ask for help. There's an intimidation factor of, well, they may not listen to me because I'm a student and they're a staff, but we all started as college students at some point. And we just share our own experiences to help ease that that transition, making them, you know, helping them to be more comfortable. But that's one of the ways in which we're able to do that.
I also wanted to add, at BCC, we do a great job, not just at ASAP, but throughout the campus through different departments and through different student engagement opportunities where this is really always being pushed. And also in the academic advising piece, not only at ASAP, but throughout BCC, it is always being pushed, you know, for students to know that they're here to do their best now and to have a new step forward. And it's all about, you know, it has to be cohesive throughout the entire campus and throughout the different things that we do, because it has to be, it goes back to the song, the orchestra. If one piece is off, then the song is off. So we got to keep the harmony going. And I think we do that at Bronx Community College very well.
Yeah, in addition to that, we also, well, for me, you know, when we're preparing these workshops for the women, if it's women oriented, right? We always tell them, this is your time to develop and practice. Use us, you know, help us perform these tasks, help us plan these events, you know, and this is their time to practice. So they get a chance to actually do these different things so that they're able to develop these skills that we just shared with you guys.
Thank you. And there's a follow-up question. And I think this next question is something that, you know, in higher education, we struggle with quite frequently. This is kind of the age-old question of how do you address the concern of a student who's life off-campus responsibilities preclude them from maybe the involvement we would like them to have on campus? What are some different approaches that we've applied in engaging students who really are pulled in many directions, right? And then a layer to that too is, what does this look like in this virtual environment in the pandemic? So how are we encouraging this type of skill building in the home environment in different ways?
But for me, when we're working like with we have a couple of students that's on the Women's Empowerment Committee as student members. So for us, we stress that, yes, studies are important. You don't have to be to each and every committee meeting, but, just communication, whether it's by email, text, it could be the smallest of things. As long as you're contributing to something, you're making a difference, right? And you're also developing a sense of responsibility or even a sense of advocacy, because sometimes you'll have one of the student members, for example, happen to be a DACA student, and she was adamant that we're going to do this particular event for DACA dreamers and undocumented students. And her push end up, and her planning and her ideas became to fruition on paper. And then eventually we were able to put out an event where it created, such, not really an uproar, but now that population isn't afraid to say, I need help. Where can I get help? Because that was a challenge. But by her stepping forward and having that courage, and again, she was very shy. And we started with text messages, and emails. And eventually she was able to gain that courage. And, she was a forefront of that particular event. And in addition to that, when we did the voter registration event, we had no clue it was going to be that big. We didn't expect all those TV news medias to be out there. But again, she put herself forward, and as a result, we saw this specific population at BCC who was, kind of hushed and afraid to say something, now coming forward to say when Ms. Benjamin, or they reach out to Mr. Ayala, whoever their advisor is, I need help. What's the next step? So
I think also, just to answer the question, is also about just continually to send a message out to them and try to include them as much as you can. And little by little chipping away at those different things, and they start seeing that how other students and how it's being shown on campus and things like that, they start to get that little spark, and they want to join. I know I had a couple of students that always said, "Oh, I got work." I said, just come and try. And once they connected with us and they connected with the workshop, they were like, "Oh man, yeah. Remind me when the financial literacy one is coming. Remind me when a Battle of the Sexes is coming. Remind me of this." So it piqued their interest, and even though they worked, sometimes they like, "Oh, I'm gonna use my lunchtime to be at that meeting." So it's all about intriguing them and continue to push the message. You got to have a message that is always inclusive of, like we said, we include everyone, no matter, and make sure that their voices are being heard, and we're doing that. And so when we do that, that's when students are like, wow, my voice is being heard. I love these things. I'm getting great information. And then the word of mouth starts spreading around, and then it goes quickly. And then that's how we, get students to really come that usually would not connect because of work and other things.
Right, and I appreciate that. It sounds like taking a multi-faceted approach to reaching students. And I think, some things that have surfaced in the chat are just the importance of also reaching students who aren't in a structured program like ASAP, or reaching our adult learners, right? So folks have different priorities, but how are we making, these opportunities accessible to these students as well? There was a question that came up about assessments of the skill building. So is there any type of pre-assessment and post-assessment that y'all have implemented to kind of gauge this growth?
Absolutely. So when we do our attendance, we often have a survey to go with it. And based on the feedback that we get from the survey, we figure out what students are looking for. The success that's come from us producing the content that we have is because we hear from students, and we implement topics that they're interested in, but they may not have the platform to voice their ideas, be able to share their, responses in. So in regards to the question, there is plenty of opportunities in which we collect data that helps us to evaluate the effectiveness of what we produce, and based on that, figure out what can we change, what can we, remove, what can we, improve on. We're always figuring out how we could be able to improve, but always with the focus on being able to engage our students, and also helping our students be involved in the planning process as well. Our scholars, who, we saw earlier, they were very crucial in the success of the development of our programs within the ASAP Women's Roundtable and the ASAP Women's Committee, because of the fact that they were able to contribute, their thoughts on what they felt their peers were looking for.
Excellent. And how do you go about selecting topics for your events? So what tells you what type of events will benefit your population the most and perhaps increase participation?
Well, again, I think it's the results that we get from hearing students, when we are brainstorming. So we oftentimes are, figuring out, and we ask our, students on our caseload, what they want to see more of, and that's another way in which you're engaging. If students feel that their ideas are being listened to, they're more inclined to actually follow up. And as Felipe was saying earlier, that's when they end up, saying, well, I may not stay for the entire time, but I'm going to come during my lunch break to see how my idea, played a factor in the success of this particular event. And again, we do a pre-survey, we do or more so, we do a survey at the end, and creating that space, to not only provide their demographic information, but a space where they can go in depth in regards to what they liked about it, what they didn't like about it. We're always welcoming constructive criticism, but all in all, we're always, encouraging our students to utilize the platform to share what's on their mind. There's no such thing as exclusion with us, and even if it's an idea that's unheard of, we are guiding to the student on what they want to, or more so elaborating on their idea to be able to have it implemented.
Yeah, I just wanted to add what Donovan says. We're also, our students are the key focus. And so we want to make sure that they're the ones, that their voices are being heard. And this is, we get tons of information from them. And then that's when we start looking at all the different student engagement pieces, and how do we want to make sure that they get all these different tools in their toolbox that's going to help them move towards the four-year college. Or if they don't do that, or if they're transitioning into the career field, that they have these things in their toolbox. So it's critical that you're listening to the students, because if they continue to see that it's something that you're doing and not invoking their voice, then you lose them right away.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And I think you touched on this a little bit, but what can you share with us about any new approaches during the pandemic? So how have you been able to increase student participation at your events during the pandemic?
We do a broadcast like no other. We do a broadcast like no other, really. And we, here's the pro that comes with working in a remote setting, that we're able to, send a message out to everyone. It's not to say that we wasn't able to do that when we were on campus, but the modality allows for more of a willingness for students to be able to, be involved and to be able to attend the events that are, currently being produced. But in regards to your question, we are committed to doing regular marketing, regular broadcasts, sending messages, and then even being able to, again, going back to what we said before about collaborating. We are oftentimes, collaborating with our colleagues, being able to say, and this is where the core of faculty and staff come into play, because that is how students are also hearing the message. They're hearing it from us, but if they're hearing it from other faculty members in other departments, they're more inclined to take it more seriously. So those are many of the ways in which we're able to get our messages out.
And we're using social media a lot, and then throughout the campus, every platform that everyone has, everyone is always sharing. And I give a shout out to BCC students engagement and the BCC history department, they're always spreading information to the students so like that they know exactly what's going on, even if they're not connected to the ASAP BCC social media, but the information is flowing throughout everywhere. And that's the collaboration. It's about everybody continuing sharing the message throughout everywhere.
Well, thank you very much. And that is our time for questions for our first presentation. But I wanted to thank again our presenters for kicking us off and, you know, getting us holistically lit. I appreciate it. Very engaging. So thank you again. And it is now my pleasure to help us transition right to part 2 of our presentation today, preparing for major and career success, a Lehman Collaborative Model. So I would like to present to you Crystal DeFour and Nicole Allen.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining our session. My name is Crystal DeFour. I'm one of the senior academic advisors within the Office of Academic Advising at Lehman College.
And I'm Nicole Allen. I'm one of the career advisors at the Career Exploration and Development Center at Lehman College.
So today, Nicole and I, we're going to discuss how both academic advisement and career services have collaborated to assist transfer students to Lehman. So at some colleges, academic advisement and career services are housed under the same department, but that's not the case at Lehman. So Nicole and I, we collaborate so we can prevent transfer students from reaching a roadblock in the enrollment process, guiding them to select a minor that will complement their major and prepare them for a career. And we do this by helping them assess their values to make sure that their career choice and their major is in alignment with each other. So how did this idea come about for the collaboration? Well, as an academic advisor, I would see that transfer students who came to Lehman who were undecided on a major, they couldn't complete the enrollment process. New transfer students have a hold on their account if they have 60 credits or more, and of course, most likely they have an associate's degree. So if they're undecided on a major, they can't declare their major. And it's not so simple to just refer these students to career services or to a faculty advisor to discuss what majors are available. The most an academic advisor can do is review the academic programs offered at Lehman. But when they ask the question, what can I do with that major? What career can I select with that major? There's just a huge question mark. So that's when Nicole and I decided to partner with BCC to host a pre-academic career advisement session. We targeted students who earned 45 to 60 credits and were interested in transferring to Lehman College. The workshop was divided into 2 portions in which the first half, I discussed academic programs and some of the requirements. And then the second part, Nicole would discuss some of the careers, the majors, career options for some of the majors that were mentioned. We only partnered with BCC so far, but in the future, we hope to partner with additional community colleges, and we hope that this presentation is an opportunity to do so. So during the workshop, students were introduced to majors offered at Lehman or academic programs offered at Lehman. Students know that they would like to transfer to Lehman, but some of them have no idea what majors are offered, and they are not sure or aware that some programs require a separate application or require maybe a particular course or a GPA. So if you take a look at the slide, the majors highlighted, those programs have additional requirements. So accounting, business, DFN, speech pathology, students must earn or have a certain GPA in the few core courses. And for nursing and social work, it's the same, a GPA requirement, but also they must have completed certain courses. So this was an opportunity to bring awareness to what majors Lehman offers and just get their brain thinking or flowing. Next, in the workshop, we discuss how programs from the community college can transfer to Lehman. Some students just don't know how that is possible. Liberal arts, too often students would come in and say, I would like to declare liberal arts as a major. And then we have to explain to them, we have majors that are considered liberal arts, but as this is new information to them, the follow-up question would be, well, what can I do with that major? So for liberal arts, if you take a look on the left at the chart, I categorized it by sciences on the upper right, and on the bottom right, languages, the bottom left, communication, and on the upper left by, I would say, majors for students interested in education, or if they come in and just say, I'm just interested in liberal arts as a major. And for the second part, Nicole would discuss some of these majors, the career options that students can select. If you take a look to the right of the screen where it's know before you go, another issue or roadblock that students face is wondering how can maybe majors under the AAS degree can transfer to Lehman. So what Nicole and I did was we reviewed those majors and we kind of compared it to the majors offered at Lehman to see how students can transfer those majors. So health careers, the majors listed under health careers under community colleges, students can maybe enter the workforce when they receive their associate's degree, but some students would like to continue and earn a bachelor's degree. For those who would like to do so but are unsure, we as an academic advisors would recommend health science majors. So any of those majors listed under health science department, those are options for students. If students were interested in technology, we would suggest any majors under math. And what's not listed on the screen, if students were interested in, let's say, not interested, but their major was financial management or office administration, then they can consider either economics, accounting, or business at Lehman. One of the biggest roadblocks for students, new transfer students coming from the community college to Lehman, is stating that they would like to declare education as a major. And it's not a major, it's a minor. And the biggest issue now is students deciding what major can they select. And that's a freezing point for them. They become flustered, they have no idea. And so during the workshop, I explained to students that education is divided into early childhood, and middle and high school. For early childhood and childhood, students were given some suggestions, some majors that they can select, though they can select any major that's 30 credits or more. And then they were informed that as a teacher, when they become a certified teacher and they teach at that level, they will teach all subjects. For middle and high school, students were informed that the majors they select with a minor, they will teach that at the high school, middle high school level. So this workshop was a great way for us to prepare students and gain this knowledge before they transfer over. Our second collaboration between academic advisement and career services took place this past fall semester, fall 2020. It was our first virtual workshop. It was also geared towards students who were undecided on a major, but more so for students who were already attending Lehman. They were transfer students, but students who probably transferred before they earned their associate's degree at the community college. So maybe they transferred after 12 credits or one academic year. It was very similar to the workshop at BCC, in which students were informed of the majors, the academic programs at Lehman, the requirements. But what made it a little bit different was that it included general advisement. So students were informed that certain majors at Lehman, the core courses or entry-level courses, I should say, are also under the pathways curriculum. And this was a good way for them to maybe test the waters to see if a major is for them. So let's say a student is interested in psychology. Let's say they completed Psych 166 or Introduction to Psychology at Lehman, and they did so-so, but they are serious about continuing. And some students, they just don't want to give up. So they can maybe enroll in a 200-level psychology course that's part of the Pathways curriculum, and that can be a guide for them to determine if they should continue in the major or not. And this also helps them with financial aid, that they're just not taking random courses. And depending on the major, let's say social work, where about 3 or more courses, 4, are also under the Pathways curriculum, they get to maybe graduate within 4 years because they are, so to speak, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. During this virtual workshop, students were also introduced to academic advisement at Lehman, especially the specialized advisors. So in the Office of Academic Advisement, there are general advisors, and then the specialized advisors advise on careers or majors pertaining to the health field. So there's a pre-nursing advisor, advisor for students interested in any major under the health sciences, and a specialized advisor for pre-health professions. So students were guided that when they're ready to declare their major, or if they're considering any of these majors, they can meet with one of these specialized advisors. Also, within this workshop, Nicole and I, we reviewed some of the more complex majors at Lehman, where students may question what career opportunities are available. So ethnic studies, what can they do with Africana studies, Latin American and Caribbean studies? So the second part, Nicole would list jobs available, and you will see that when she takes over. Another way both departments collaborate is guiding students with selecting a minor, especially when they have electives they need to fulfill. So some students need to complete the liberal arts requirement, the electives in liberal arts, and also degree electives to total 120 credits. So what I like to do, the best example I like to give for students who are BBA majors who often need degree electives to total 120 credits, is suggest maybe HSA. This is just an example. I don't try to push them to it, but I'll ask them, are you interested in maybe working in the health aspect, the business aspect in the health field? Because if you are, you can consider health service administration, so as a minor, and that will complement business. And another popular one would be psychology. So many students are interested in psychology as a major, and I'm sure none of them, or I should say none, but most of them probably don't know what career options are available. So what I like to ask them as an example would be, are you interested in art therapy, or are you interested in music therapy? Because art or music are great minors to select. But if they're not sure, of course, if they're sure or they're considering a certain major, a minor, they can definitely meet with career services to discuss career possibilities with the major. And then based on those career possibilities, what minor can kind of give them the knowledge to prepare them for that career. So students would be transferred or referred to career services. So what I'm going to do now is transfer this presentation to Nicole so she can discuss what goes on her end as a career advisor.
Thank you. So as students transfer to Lehman College, the Career Center certainly wants to connect with all students. And a big part of what we do is helping students explore majors and careers. And a lot of that mostly is done through career assessments. Not all students do career assessments, but that's one starting place for students exploring majors and career. Some students come into the college knowing what major they want to major in, but they're not too sure of the career possibilities connected to that major. So sometimes students know exactly what they want to do and don't feel that a career assessment is needed. But we oftentimes work with students who are completely undecided about what they want to study, about what career they want to pursue. So we would work with them in helping them do a career assessment. And the career assessment is helpful and useful to the students because it gives them information and insight about their values and about their interests. And they can use that information to align their majors and careers. Research has constantly shown that when students are choosing majors and careers that really align with their values, their interests, and skills, the chance or the possibility of success in terms of academic engagement and career engagement is pretty high. At Lehman College, an online career assessment tool called Focus 2 that we purchase for both our students and alumni, because our alumni students often come back, whether they want to switch careers or they're looking for something else to do. So the online assessment that we use is called Focus 2. Students and alumni can use it. They get the link as well as a password. And in that Focus 2 online tool, there's a couple of different modules that students can use to explore majors and careers. And the first module is the career assessment. And it inventories a couple of different work interests, values, personality, leisure. And so the student does the assessment, and then it generates a report for the student to view. We encourage students to, when the report is generated, to meet with their career advisor so that they can kind of flesh out the information of the assessment and create a plan for next steps. In addition to the report, the assessment also provides a list of majors and careers that align with the self-assessment. And so in exploring majors, one of the first things that we want to do is look at the courses that students would take in that particular major and the required courses. And the reason why we do that is because we want to make sure that they are aware of the courses that they have to take, if there's any concerns in the courses that they have to take. I remember helping one student who decided she wanted to major in accounting and realized that statistics was one of the courses that's required. So it's really good to help students to really explore the courses that they have to take, both the required and the elective courses, but also to help them see the connection between the courses and the skills that they acquire in the courses. Too often our students, I think, sometimes don't see the value of the courses that they take, whether it be their major courses or liberal arts courses, whether it be an English class or philosophy class. So I will speak to the students, look at the courses that's required for a potential major and say, these are the skills that you can acquire in this course. And this is how these skills can transfer or be translated into the career that you can possibly go into. So they're able to see the connection between the two. And of course, in exploring careers with transfer students, we certainly want to get a sense of the areas of knowledge that they need. So if they want to become a financial analyst, you know, what are areas of knowledge that you need in order to become a financial analyst? For example, economics, accounting, math courses. And then the skills that are connected to those careers would be really helpful for students to know. So for financial analysts, analytical skills, there's certain technical skills that's required for that field. So you want to make sure that you understand, the students understand the skills that they need for potential careers. Certainly the values and the work environment as well, the kind of work environment that they'll be in and the values that really are connected to those career possibilities. And the reason why we go through this information with students is so that they have the information. If they have the information, then the chances of them making better decisions when it comes to majors and careers are pretty great. So we value the exploration as well as the information to students. For students that connect to our office, who know exactly what they want to major in, but are not too sure of what they can do with the major. And sometimes their major doesn't have a direct link to a career. For example, linguistics or philosophy or economics. You know they enjoy studying those majors, but they say, okay, Nicole, I want to do economics. What can I do with that degree? What kind of job can I get? And so this resource, it's a free resource. It's what can you do with a major? It's a resource that students can go to the site and they'll be able to look at the different majors, including, they can explore different majors and find the career possibilities. So on this snapshot, it says view all majors and the listing of different majors that they can look into. Once they click on the major, it populates a couple of different career possibilities that they can look and explore. So that resource is really helpful for them. This is a snapshot of when you click on the what can you do with a major. I just chose this as an example because many of the students that I work with are economic students, and oftentimes they're very clueless about the field, about the industry, and about the career possibilities. So we certainly want to make sure that they understand that there's a lot of career possibility in the field of economics. So I like the way the handout is structured, where it has the different areas that they can pursue, whether it be in government, in research, in banking, and finance, because oftentimes those students are not aware of the different areas. The employers, and then the strategies is my favorite part of the handout. And the strategies really focus on things that they can do while they're in school to prepare for that specific area or specific career. So it's really helpful information to students to get to the next step in their exploration. Not too sure how many of you are aware, but there's the Occupational Outlook Handbook, which is another resource that we provide with our students in helping them explore careers. This is an example of a financial analyst, and the tabs are information that's really useful for the students. What they do, certainly students want to know exactly what that career looks like in a little bit more detail. So that tab of what they do provides that information. Again, the work environment, how to become one, which gives information about the career path from the moment that you graduate, if there's any certifications, licensing, things like that that you would need. Of course, pay, which is sometimes the first tab they go to because they want to find out the kind of money that they'll be making first. The job outlook, and then the other useful part is the similar occupations. And this is helpful because a student can say, okay, I'm interested in learning more about financial analysts. And they read through the information and they say, you know what, Nicole, I decided that's not something that I really want to do. Are there occupations that are similar to this that I can possibly explore? So the similar occupations tab gives students that information, which is really useful for them. And career possibilities in human public service. So Crystal talked earlier about doing a workshop for students, undecided students, and transfer students. And because our students are so busy and they have so much information that they have to sift through when it comes to career exploration, one of the things that I did in the workshop was to create a handout with information that I think would be useful for them to leave with. So what I did is I created a slide. So what you see here says career possibilities in human public service. I did a slide like this for different areas. So for computer technology, for languages, for business, so that students would have kind of a snapshot of the different careers that they can go into within the areas of the majors that's listed here. And then the type of employers that they can work for. And then, of course, the skills that you need. And we certainly want students to start to develop these skills while they're in school, because as mentioned earlier, there's so many different ways that students can develop these skills, both in academics as well as in co-curricular activities. So the skill building is really crucial for students. And one of the things that our office really works with students with is exposing them and helping them see the different job and internship opportunities. We want to make sure that they are connecting to employers for different opportunities, whether it's job, internship, volunteer opportunity, job shadowing, externships. We want to make sure that when they leave, they have their degree, but they also have some related experience. And I highlight the word related experience because that's really crucial when they're looking for their first job or they're looking to get into the field that they plan to start in. So internships is a really good way for students to connect to employers. And what we're doing in light of COVID, since we're not on campus, we had our internship fair, and we're having our career fair, which we've decided to call March Career Month. So we're inviting all the employers to have Zoom sessions with our students. So we're inviting all our students to Career Month, and every day there's a different employer that will speak to students about job and internship opportunities. And that gets them excited because they get exposed to the different environment, the industry, and they can certainly, hopefully, make connections between their courses and the internship experience that they're in. And then, I guess when all is said and done, we certainly want students to meet with their academic advisor for appropriate selection. We want them to really identify coursework that aligns with their career interest and maintain good academic standing. That's one of the things. I know academic advising does that, but at the career office, we certainly do for a couple of different reasons. One, obviously, to keep their status in college, but also for internship opportunities. Some employers require GPA, so we always encourage students to maintain their academic standing, a good academic standing, and we kind of share with them what that looks like. And these are some resources that we can certainly share with you. The focus too, if any college or anyone on the line is interested in learning more about Focus 2, they have online webinars that provides information on how a college can purchase that tool. The What Can I Do with a Major? This is information that you can have and connect to those people to get the resources for your college or campus.
As far as advising undecided students, it's a great 3-week certificate course hosted by NACADA. I did it 2 years ago, and it gave a great insight on how to assist undecided students as an academic advisor. And actually, it's through that workshop or that course when I realized that so many other colleges, they have academic advisement and career advisement under the same department. And while completing the course, there was reference to career advising and academic advisor's guide by Virginia Gordon. It's a really great resource as an academic advisor, because even though academic advisors, you focus on advising maybe on general education requirements, it does include career advising. And so if you have the student in front of you and you want to make most of the time that you have with them, instead of having them run around, these 2 resources are really great for academic advisors.
All right. Well, thank you for that presentation. We appreciate it, Crystal and Nicole. There are a few questions that came through. One of them, thank you for sharing these resources. A few folks were interested in the links. And so I believe that information was in that last slide. So we're going to be posting this presentation. And so folks will have access to all of this wonderful information after this session today. But a question came about using these resources with the new EAB tool. Are there thoughts on that?
Well, as far as that goes, because of that, maybe we have discussed possibly having, changing group advising and focusing on that, including advising undecided students, but we haven't really gone into too much detail yet as far as how that can be used, but perhaps implementing it in our group advising session. For those of you who don't know, academic advisement, we have group advising sessions there's 2 sessions, one for students who have an AA or an AS degree, and then for everyone else. And so we review the degree work curriculum and explain to students what the requirements are. So because of with EAB, we can now change what we used to review within degree works and now include that platform. But we haven't really sat down and thought about exactly how we would do it.
Excellent. And what can I do with this major must be purchased? That's correct?
Yes.
Nicole?
Yes, I believe so. And that's the contact information at the end of the slide.
Excellent. And there was a question that came up about students who may enter with the notion of minoring, right? Having a minor, and then they may decide that they want a double major. So how do you kind of talk through how this might impact a student's timeline if they choose to double major?
So we would review first, maybe just the first major along with their general education requirements. Academic advisement at Lehman is twofold. There's academic advisement and faculty advisement within the major. So maybe first just reviewing the basic requirements, and then when students see how long they will be here with just their first major, a possible minor, and their gen ed, that may or may not determine if they want a second major. But then also including discussing their career options. What have they thought about career-wise? Because maybe they don't need a second major, maybe just a minor, or maybe it's just an internship. So having that discussion with them as an academic advisor, but of course, referring them to career services for more detailed information based on what their career selection or what they're thinking about career-wise.
Thank you, terrific. And Focus 2 seems like a great tool. And it's great that it's available to current students, but also your alums. Do you find that a lot of your alums are reaching back and using the tool and accessing the resource?
Yes, many of the students that I work with, especially if they're switching careers and they want to kind of reassess their career possibilities, yeah, they'll use the Focus 2. Maybe not the assessment piece, but certainly exploring the careers piece. And there's a couple of other different modules in the Focus 2 that would be useful for them.
Terrific, terrific. I'm not seeing any additional questions at this time. But this was a great information, and I love the partnership, and the collaborative model truly is what I think we're all striving for. And so this was a really good example of how to do this work and how to do it very intentionally. So I think we can take a lot of the lessons learned here and apply them in addition to the great resources, because that's what I always appreciate about a presentation is walking away with some tangible resources that we can then take a look at and see how we can map them onto the work that we're doing locally. So thank you so much, Nicole and Crystal. I really appreciate it. I think we all appreciate your time. And so with that, I wanted to kind of take us home and wrap us up. And again, my name is Danny Ambrose, and I am the Assistant Dean of Student Support at Gutman Community College. It has been a pleasure to be here with you all today for our second Transfer Tuesday. And as Carrie mentioned at the start of our program, the fun is not over. We have many more exciting events still on the way. So we have 2 more Transfer Tuesday events, right? April 13th, plugging the leaky transfer pipeline. So that is coming up April 13th. And then May 4th, nursing alternatives, exploring other healthcare related degrees. And so those are our final 2 Transfer Tuesdays. So we hope that you all can join us again for those events. And additionally, we have re-envisioned the BTAG Summit this year, and we are hosting the 2021 BTAG Summit on March 19th. From 9 to 11 a.m. And so I think many folks may have gotten that call for registration. So the registration link actually is available on the BTAG website as well. So we would encourage you to come and join us on March 19th. We will be welcoming the Bronx Opportunity Network into the BTAG fold officially. And welcoming kind of the expansion and celebrating the expansion of BTAG. And we will be featuring a student panel that day. And so we're going to be highlighting the experiences of our students who have transferred or are in the process of transferring to Lehman. And so we know firsthand that we want to learn from what our students are experiencing and have their voices be elevated in the work that we're doing. So we really hope that you can join us for that as well. So with that, I will say thank you so much and have a wonderful day. And again, look for this recording on the BTAG website.